I was born in Leader, Saskatchewan. My father sold the farm there because of some health issues with regards to the type of weeds that were there, so we moved to Moose Jaw when I was halfway through grade 1. Baseball was my favorite sport growing up. We played that almost every day. That's what I spent most of my time doing. Played for South Hill Rough Riders minor league football team, and my mother was always afraid to let me play football, but finally she gave in, and so I decided to play, and I really enjoyed it. After high school, I think I was done with school, to be quite honest, and two of my best friends decided they wanted to go to university, and that was the last thing on my mind. I thought I wanted to take a year off. I really didn't think about going to university, and so I decided to go into physical education since I really enjoyed sports. But then in my fourth year of physical education, I took a class called Care and Prevention of Athletic Injuries, and I really enjoyed that. So I thought that this was a pretty neat field to be in, and anyways, I had two professors there at the University of Saskatchewan who both went to Indiana University, so they helped me get into Indiana University, and that's how I got there, and that's how I began to pursue my career in athletic therapy. I had a great interest in it, and Al Lettingham, who was the head football coach at the University of Saskatchewan Huskies, asked whether I would like to, help with the football team, because at that time there was no athletic therapist or trainer. So I said, yes, I'll help out. Of course, I didn't know what I was doing, to be quite honest, so basically doing things out of a book, if you will. I guess the riders, Sandy Archery in particular, asked whether there would be anybody up at the U of S that was interested in maybe helping out with training camp, whether there was an athletic therapist. And of course, Al Lettingham said certainly he knows just the person that would like to do that, and that was me. I didn't know what to say at the time, because Al said that I was going to the rider training camp, and that was that. So he basically said, "You're going." So anyways, I came down here, and that was sort of the final ticket with regards to what I wanted to do for a living, and that was sort of what really propelled me to to continue in this field, and I wanted to do this. Sandy was a character. He was the type of guy that took his job very seriously, but at the same time, he liked to have a lot of fun. But that's what I enjoyed most, and that was, to have fun with your job. And to be quite honest, I still do that to this. I did that till the day I retired.
Sandy was different. He was a happy-go-lucky guy that really, he was tough to get to know, because he was very, 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 very dry-humored. And he was a very dedicated man to his job also. I mean, I've learned a lot of his taping from Sandy, and Sandy's nickname was Magic Fingers, so you definitely couldn't learn from anyone better than Sandy Archer.
Those techniques that you'd learned in university were valid. They were very basic, but sometimes he'd put a different spin on it and say, you should do it this way instead of that way. So, he had his little theories and ideas and things that really did actually work.
It's amazing how important athletic therapists are to your entire organization. I don't think I'd be exaggerating if I didn't say that your trainer can win you a game or 2 games a year.
In those days, we played 4 preseason games, and so we went to Winnipeg, and Sandy and Dale Laird went down the day before, but they called the night before, or the night before we left, and they said that Sandy had suffered a heart attack, and so that's when I was told that I would be there full time. I mean, certainly you don't want to take over a job in those circumstances, because at that time, you're looking at a guy that was fresh. To be quite honest, even though I had some experience with Sandy for the past 8 years, but to take a program like that all by yourself and all of a sudden be thrown into it was quite challenging, but it was fun.
We had some really, really rough years. As bad as some of the years are with the Rough Riders, I never ever seen players come to the field that want to lose. All of a sudden in '89, we have a chance to go to the Grey Cup, and it was like, wow, that's kind of the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. We're going to the Grey Cup finally after 10 years.
So, I mean, when we won the Grey Cup, it was unbelievable. I just took my 2 bags and I walked off the field, went into the locker room, opened a bottle of champagne, which was already opened, and watched on TV what the festivities were going on the field. I was just exhausted, to be quite honest. I was so delighted, so excited. It was great. I mean, it's probably one of the best experiences in my life at that time. Was winning the Grey Cup.
We had some injuries in the playoffs and had to play some backups in a couple of the playoff games. And there's another way Ivan came in, is that Ken Austin wasn't able to play in one of the playoff games, and through his great work we were able to have Kent for the Grey Cup. So, Ivan was a big part of that 89 championship team.
One of the things that you do as a therapist or a trainer, when you're on the sidelines, you watch the game a lot differently than fans do, or maybe coaches do. For example, you watch to see how people are interacting, offense and defensive lines, see whether somebody's going low, somebody's going high, or whether somebody's clipping somebody or hitting somebody from behind, so that when you do get ready to go out to for an injury, that you know what you're at least looking for or where to look, and you sort of go in a progressive manner as to what the injury actually could be.
Well, first thing is, when we run out in the field, don't trip, because there is 35,000 people watching you. But as you run out there, ultimately it's about assessing that player and making sure that they're not suffering from major injury or major problems. Ultimately, you want to get that player off as safely and as quickly as you can, and ideally get them back into the game. One of the best things that Ivan taught me, and it's not even a tool or a technique, it's to treat everyone as equals, right? Whether you're the starting quarterback or you're the rookie on the practice roster, right? You need to treat each individual player as an equal. There's no favoritism.
He's the type of guy that you can come to with anything, whether it's a field injury or an off-field issue. I know lots of guys kind of went to Ivan for advice, or just for a guy to kind of bounce their frustration off of. And he didn't look at us just like employees and guys that he had to do stuff for. I genuinely think he wanted to make sure that we got the best care, and wanted us to be healthy. And
as I put it, they're probably 50% athletic therapist and 25% psychologist and 25% counselor or babysitter. And they know the pulse of the team. And if your players have confidence in your trainer, they're going to perform better.
A lot of times players just are afraid when they do get hurt. They don't know what that means to their career or what's going to happen. And so a lot of times you have to explain to them, what the process is. Tell them that if it's serious or not serious, tell them that you're going to be okay. It'll take some time, so there's no sense getting upset or whatever, because it is what it is, and you're just going to have to try and go through this, and we'll help you go through that. So, for the most part, players need reassurance that it is not the end of their career, and that they will be back. It may not be tomorrow, or may not be a week or two from now, but they will be back.
With me tearing my Achilles, and it obviously being something that Ivan had to go through himself, that made us closer. Every morning I came in, he knew exactly where I was with my rehab. We were able to just relate so much better because he's been through that personally. That's what makes the recovery process special for me, because he could feel my pain, literally. And he's just a great guy, first and foremost, and then you put that into all the knowledge that he has, it just makes it even better.
I only had to look in the mirror and say, you know what, I'm 68 years old when I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, geez, how much longer am I going to do this? I've been sort of contemplating retiring for, not a for sure thing, but I've had, it was in the back of my mind, you can't go on forever. They were getting ready to make a change, and it was just about time for me to give it up. So I decided just to pack it in.
I think Ivan, unbeknown to a lot of people, has a very green thumb. That might be one of his, I don't want to say outs from football, but kind of his getaway from, the pressures of the job.
To the Rider organization, thank you for giving me the opportunity to do what I love every day and making this career very memorable. I'd like to thank my family, and lastly, I'd like to thank the Rider Nation, Rider organization for being very supportive, and thank them for everything that they have done.